Hello. This is a little bit about a video someone did on Voracious 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and I really like the way that the layout was done for the video. The split screen, I don't know how to do that myself. I know there's probably a button on this thing somewhere where you can do that. And I like the way it was presented, the presentation of the video. You're doing an excellent job, and keep up the good work with that. Also, presenting, looking at something, opening up the scripture and looking at a verse and seeing what you can see there. That's an excellent way to present. That's an excellent way to explore a topic and to do a video. Just a few things that I noticed. Concerning issues of saying names of God and also writing names of God. I don't pretend to be an expert at this. I get confused about it all the time. I'm definitely not very good at Hebrew. A couple years ago, I made it a goal to try to get to the point where I would be considered functionally illiterate in Hebrew. And I thought if I can get to that stage, it would be like a major milestone for my life, functional illiteracy. And I think I've gotten to that point, but I'm not sure yet. But as far as the names of God go, I've been told, and I don't know to what extent it's halakha and to what extent it's extra rabbinic stringencies. I've been told generally, if it's in the context of davening, if it's in the context of structured prayer, we say the names of God one way. If it's in the context of study, a more of a casual context, and we say the names of God a little differently. I've never really understood all the rules involved, and I'm constantly asking my rabbi details of questions. Recently, I came across some things in the Psalms where there's a yud and then a hey. That's one of the names of God, and I wasn't sure, how do I say this in the davening? Do I say it the same way I would say the tetragrammaton, or do I say it a different way? And I was told, okay, how do you say the word? I was told how to say it in davening. And then I said, well, how do I say it if I'm studying? And he gave me a different way of saying when I'm studying. Yesterday, we're having a class on Zoom, and the rabbi is giving a Hasidic exclamation into in the beginning of the 10 Commandments. God says, have no other gods before me. So the second gods, how do we say the second gods? Do we say it the way it's spelled, because it's not really a name of God, or maybe it is a name of God, but in a diminished form? So how do we actually say it? So my rabbi is giving a Hasidic discourse on this idea, on this thought, and I realized afterwards, actually this morning, I'm realizing he didn't actually give an answer as to how we say the word, the other gods. How do we say that if I'm just studying it? So these things get very confusing. I'm gonna have to ask my rabbi, to clarify this. But these things get very confusing, and I'm not going to claim to know the answers. I just know that there are questions. Also, writing the names of God, if it's in a established like a Chumash, or if it's in a prayer or a psalm, though, the names are written out explicitly, the way that they're supposed to be written out. If it's in commentary, or if I'm going to write it out, I'm not going to write it out the same way, because there's a lesser degree of sanctity in let's say a commentary, or if I'm going to write, definitely there's a lesser degree of sanctity. So I'm not going to write it out correctly, because then I gotta figure out what, I got to worry about Seamus. I got to worry about what am I going to do with this thing. I got to treat it correctly till the end of time. Questions come up about whether or not we're allowed to type something on a computer screen, and the determination, okay, we are allowed to, but maybe we shouldn't, because it seems like something we shouldn't do. But technically, if it does happen, we don't have to worry about it. But what do we do if it's like, if I scratch the name, if I was writing something in sand, what would be what should I do? Well, the answer is don't do it to begin with, and then you don't have to worry about it. But how is this handled? There's all these technical questions. You just got to ask a rabbi, because I certainly don't know the answers to these questions. All I know is that they are questions, and they're things to be concerned with. So, discussing some of the grammatical issues involved with Hebrew sentences, I'm not much of an, I'm probably at the level, hopefully I'm at the level where I can say I'm functionally illiterate in Hebrew, because that means I'm at least dysfunctionally literate, which is a major milestone. The question of the word gracious, I don't understand why gracious would be, what exactly that is. I've got a book here that I got last week in the mail, and Biblical Hebrew Syntax. It's a college book. Rabbis don't write these kind of books. Rabbis, they are Torah. They are the language, and they don't study language this way. So this is something that a college professor would write. My rabbi knows Hebrew grammar inside and out. He can describe things in a class where he just goes through the words and he can parse everything out. But if you asked him to write a book, it'd be like asking a person to write a book on how to breathe. Would you ask a person to write a book on how to walk? An ordinary person would be like, what are you talking about? Now, a college professor, the kind of people that write these kind of books, these guys right here, they could probably write a book on how to breathe. And they may probably make it as thick as this book. So I'm not sure if this is correct, because like I said, I just got this book last week. But I looked it up on the index. This is what I found. It's possible for a construct of no prepositional force to stand before a non-relative clause. This construction is extremely rare. And the footnote mentions Genesis 1:1. So perhaps that's how they wind up doing the syntax for veracious. All I know, the level of Hebrew that I know is normally get a verb followed by a subject followed by an object, a direct object. The verb says what's happening, the subject says who's doing it, and the object is what's doing it too. So let's say Joe is walking a dog. In Hebrew, it would be walking Joe dog. And concerning the question of the etz, the Aleph Tav, which apparently the Messianics thinks is a reference to Jesus, which I have no idea where they go with that, because it doesn't make any sense. But that is the indicator that the word coming after it is the object. It's happening to, Joe is the person doing it. He's walking, and it's happening to the dog. Therefore, the dog would be the direct object. So here God is creating, bara Elohim, God. Eth, so eth would be what's being created, or what the creation is happening to. Ha Shemayim, the heavens. Va eth. So we say when we have two things together, the second one would have the vav. Now sometimes there's a list of three, and the second one doesn't have a vav. I never understood why, like Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And there's a couple other cases where lists of that similar former have that. The second one doesn't have a vav. Normally, each one would have a vav after, and. Just think of and. So it's heavens and earth. So that's why we don't have a vav at heavens, because it would be and heavens, earth. Right? That wouldn't make any sense. We say heavens and earth. The connection is between, the heavens and earth. And both times they have the F, because they're both examples of the direct object. So that's how that fits together. Kudos on doing your video. I've gotten old and I'm more grumpier now, and I don't do as many videos as I used to because I'm just grumpy. But keep it up. Keep up the good work. Thank you.